thought that was kind of weird. I kind of want my pastor to just be like a nerd. I'm different. I want my pastor to be a nerd. I want him to go into the word, read the Bible, break it down, teach me. The flashy part, to me, necessarily, it's not really my style, but church is packed. Music sounds great in there. Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Sam Rigo podcast. My name is Sam Rigo. Thank you for checking in. Hey, if you're new here or somehow the algorithm has brought you to my channel, come on in, have a seat. Make sure you subscribe, turn your notification bell on so you can get all this content. Hey, yo, what in the world is going on? I have a huge question. Huge question. It's huge. Should churches have armed security? This past Sunday, November 16th, there was an incident that happened. And I want to show you the incident, and then I want to talk about it. So go ahead and take a look at it.
Come on, man of God, I see you. Come on. Y'all clap y'all hands and give God praise. He just want to give me a hug. Come on.
That is crazy, yo. Crazy. So William Murphy is a singer turned preacher he's out of Atlanta, on the east side of Atlanta, not too far from me, actually. I visited his church twice. He's huge. He's a big singer. I used to love a lot of his music, and I grew up, I didn't listen to too much gospel, but he's one of the people that made it to me, and I liked him a lot. I liked his music a lot. His church is called the Dream Center in Atlanta, and I visited, like I told you, and I didn't necessarily like it. I think the music was great. Like, the music was, I ain't gonna lie, like, there's like 3 churches in Atlanta that, like, every time you go in there, it's a concert. 3 black churches. It's Change with Darius Daniels. It just sound great. And as an artist, musician, I just like great sound. So they got one, and Dream Center, boy, them boys sound good. And then there's another church called House of Hope on the east side too that has just phenomenal sound. Like, it sounds like a concert every time. But nonetheless, I went there. I didn't necessarily like it. It felt showy. It felt like a big production, but then again, he's a singer. So, like, I guess, like, your church is going to look like it did. Halfway through the service, he came in late. He had, like, a security guard with him. And, I mean, he's decked out. He got, William Murphy's a good-looking man. He's fresh. He's fresh. He's fresh. So anyways, I thought that was kind of weird. I kind of want my pastor to just be like a nerd. I'm different. I want my pastor to be a nerd. I want him to go into the word, read the Bible, break it down, and, teach me. And then I also want my pastor to have, like, a really good quality of life. Like, I want him to, like, not have scandal, like, live above reproach, like, be an example. I'm not saying anything about William Murphy. I don't know anything about that part, but the flashy part, to me, necessarily, it's not really my style, but, church is packed. Music sounds great in there. He was in the news a few years ago when he had a DJ at a Washington night service and did the swag surf. He played the lyrics. I'm all hypnotic, polo on my body and a bat beside me, and I'm swagging, I'm surfing, right? He's playing that, and he got a lot of backlash because of that. He also got a lot of backlash because he joined a fraternity, right? In his big old age, he went back and he pledged for fraternity. And, so he joined it, and people were giving a lot of backlash for that. I didn't really care about it. I didn't go on him and talk that. I think there's a different relationship, and, I don't want to get into that, but there's a unique relationship between fraternities, sororities, and the black church. It's just, it's unique, and I'm going to talk about it one day. That being said, William Murphy is a big deal to a lot of people. It's to a lot of people. I think in the black church specifically, we have this thing where if you are successful you're a leader, right? If you look at the numbers across, um, across the board, being a leader, um, if you're black, you're successful, you're automatically a leader. If you're an athlete, you're a leader. If you're an entertainer, you're a leader. If you're a pastor and you're popping and your church is lit, you're a leader. William Murphy's a leader. William Murphy does a lot with the HBCUs in Atlanta. He does a lot with feeding a lot of the homeless in Atlanta. William Murphy does a lot with even colleges or helping high school kids get to college. His ministry's is booming. Um, so that's that, and he's had a big career. Big career. Like I said, I like a lot of his songs. That being said, William Murphy they had the guy rush him on stage. It's 2025. And then I seen it, I laughed, right? I first saw it, I laughed a little bit because he didn't the guy who rushed him didn't seem like he was gonna harm. He just kind of wanted a hug. He also seemed like he was special needs. And, I don't think we should, there's a special place in my heart for people with special needs. That being said, you know what I mean? That was a very dangerous situation. Things could have went really left really fast because I know for a fact William Murphy has security. I know for a fact he has security. There are armed people at that church. I know for a fact there are armed people at that church. And they did something different. They just tackled him, but, it could have went left because, when I go to churches, I look at everything because there's so much to look at. Like, churches became so much to look at. But I look at everything. What if security pulled out a handgun and shot that man? Like, what if they pulled out a small Glock and shot that man? What if it ricocheted off something and went to somebody else? We've had this. We've had church shootings before. The same way we have school shootings. So we have mall shootings, movie theater shootings. We have shootings all over the place. If they would have shot that young man, what would the pulse of this country have been today? I think William Murphy handled that so smooth. He's a smooth guy. He kind of walked away. Y'all give God some praise. He just wanted to hug me. That's dope. But I think a lot of churches are looking at that instance and they're saying, hey, we might not have William Murphy type money. We might not have Dream Center type resources, but that could happen to us. So my question is, should churches now invest in security? On my channel earlier this year, I talked about how churches should invest in streaming, live streaming, right? I said you should master that by now. COVID whooped everybody. And by now you should have a really good live stream. You should have somebody who vets what goes out before, it's live, right? Whatever. That being said, but at the same time, man, like we got to really look at this William Murphy situation and say, yo, should churches all across the board have security? Is that an expense that churches have to have? Because if something bad would have happened too, if he would have, God forbid, something would have happened to William Murphy, there's a lot of people. He's a big deal to a lot of people. He's an icon, a leader to a lot of people. A lot of people look up to him. The church is in an area in East Atlanta, and there's a lot of jobs. There's a lot of resources that are given through that. And if William Murphy goes untimely like that, like, who knows? Who knows what could happen? So should church have security? Should every church have security? Should the government step in? Should the U.S. Government, should the federal, the police forces, the local police force, should they be in there? I had some funny situation, man, when I was doing a concert. I'm in a band, and I did a concert, I want to say 7 years ago, and it was around the time, I want to say a little bit more than 7 years ago, but it was around the time where there's a lot of trouble going on with Trayvon Martin. It was the case of Trayvon Martin. And I had said some things. I gave my opinion on some things. And a lot of people were like not happy with what I said. And I remember people were like, we're doing this concert. The concert was coming up, and I had just said these things on social media, and I went viral. And that was the first time I was like, oh, snap. Like, you know, we might have to do security. And we actually did. We had three, 2 off duty, 1 on duty police officer work the concert. Like, because like 800, 900 people there. He circulated the venue and constantly throughout the night. Right. And, you know, I believe in caring. But I didn't want like somebody I know to be caring. I have guys who have carried and said, all right, we're going to make sure everything go down. But, you know, we took the time and it cost us. I don't remember exactly what it cost us, but I remember it cost us some money to do that, to make sure that everything went safe. And were we overreacting? Maybe. You know, I was a lot younger back then, so I was a little more like, you know, on edge about things like that. But at the end of the day, it cost us, is what I'm trying to say. It cost us some money. My statement and my thought is, should churches have security? Can churches afford it? Or is that something that like the government come in and help? William Murphy in this situation, Dream Center, it could have got worse. Could have been bad. I could have been up here talking today about how he died. Could have been talking about how the guy died. I could have been talking about it in a very, very different tone. But I think today is an opportunity we can learn from this. You know, we can giggle, we can laugh, we can see how smooth it was, whether you like him or not. Like we can do that. But at the end of the day, we have to say, should church have security now? Some already do. It might be time for everybody to have security. One last story. I was at a church in, I want to say Tennessee. Right, we were on a tour and we went to go perform at a church in Tennessee. And it was out in the middle of like nowhere. I'm sorry if I forget the place, but it was middle of nowhere. And during the concert, like we're coming out of our bus and we're greeting everybody, and like everybody I hugged, right? It's Tennessee, this is South. Everybody I hugged had a gun on them. Everybody, from obviously the police officer, the pastor had a gun, the sound guy had a gun, the greeters had gun. Like it was like, it's crazy. It's also like that in Texas. In Texas, everybody's carrying, especially at church, right? But I remember I looked at my boy who's in my band. I said, "Yo, this is crazy." Like I dapped up and hugged about 10 people, the first 10 people, and they all had guns. And that was a long time ago. So I can imagine right now, churches. Is it time for churches to have security, armed security as well? Hey, subscribe, turn notification bell on, and let me know. What do you think? What do you think about this? You know, let me know in the comments. Does your church have security? Are they armed, or do you just have a police officer do it? God bless y'all.